can you talk to me briefly about past summers and what you learned? Because it's been a few years now, correct, that you've been doing this?
Yes. So we have been running our urban heat island mapping campaign program since 2017 with our first city being Richmond, Virginia. And since then, we've mapped more than 60 communities across the country and 2 international cities for the first time. And it's been so great to see so many communities wanting to address heat in these neighborhoods because they recognize the health, economic, and societal issues that heat brings. And I want to note that anyone can view all of the past urban heat island mapping reports on heat.gov. But we have learned so much about the urban heat island effect and how it impacts communities different over the past 6 years. And it's really important to note that there's not one set solution for every city when it comes to implementing cooling solutions. Every community, as we know, is so different and has different needs, and every mapping campaign is focused on addressing these needs in the community. So we've seen a lot of different cooling solutions that cities have been able to implement since 2017. So, for example, in 2022, we mapped Las Vegas, Nevada, and that data report found that bus stops were severely impacted by summer heat. And so the Regional Transportation Commission wanted to address the heat that bus riders are exposed to by implementing greater sheltering at these bus stops to really be able to provide relief to people waiting for buses. And the city was really able to use federal grants to build these shelters, and they'll be building 100 more over the next year in the hottest cities, or in the hottest neighborhoods in the cities. And even Jackson, Mississippi, which we mapped in 2022, they're really looking at community-based heat emergency planning preparedness to build resilience to heat and really doing some great infrastructure projects, again, working with the citizens of Jackson to really make sure that their community is healthy and safe. And so there's a wide range of different projects that a lot of these communities are implementing.
Wow. So that's fast. Just in the past year, they've been able to implement that. Have you seen any really big projects come out of the heat mapping that you've done? Like big infrastructure projects?
Absolutely. So, yeah, I think one of the most recent ones is the Las Vegas, but too, Honolulu, Hawaii, which did their mapping back in 2019 or 2020. They were able to work with the chief resilience officer and able to implement a huge tree planting campaign down there. And we know that there's been a lot of big tree planting initiatives across the country, too, as well as in Cincinnati, Ohio. But even in Raleigh, North Carolina, they were able to fund asphalt renovations to really increase the solar reflectivity to decrease their urban heat island effect. So just another way that is innovative that you can decrease the heat in your community.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what are you're doing this heat mapping. Are you finding reasons why it's hotter? Is it a green space issue?
Yeah, so there's a lot of reasons that cities are hotter than your rural or even kind of suburban neighborhoods. So just the nature of cities itself. So the built environment of a city, your taller buildings, typically more concrete and asphalt in these areas, more confined, and typically less green space, again, than your rural areas. And this can lead to cities being, in some cases, 15 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit hotter because the city kind of traps the heat and radiates it back out into the surrounding air.
All right, so let's talk about this year. A whole new slew of cities you're going to be working on. Anything in particular about these cities? How did you pick them? I was intrigued by some of them, one of them being Asheville, North Carolina, because I used to live there. So I'm curious how you pick the cities and what's new for this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big new things for this year is we're mapping 6 completely new states. We have a large geographic diversity across the country, and some of those new states include Oklahoma, Kansas, Utah, Delaware, Iowa, and we're really just looking to expand the base that we have within our cities. And each year, the number of applicants that apply to be a part of our program just keeps growing, which again really shows how communities are really impacted or really interested in addressing this issue. And so our communities this year include Chicago, Salt Lake City, Dallas, Oklahoma City, Asheville, North Carolina, as you mentioned, Framingham and Brockton, Massachusetts, Johnson County and Wyandotte County, Kansas, Wilmington, Delaware, Toledo, Ohio, Little Rock, Arkansas, Scranton and Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Sedona, Arizona, Iowa City and Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and Washington County, Oregon. And we're also going to be mapping one international city this year, Santiago, Chile, which will be our third international location after we mapped Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and Freetown, Sierra Leone just earlier this year. And to go off your second question, how we select them. So we hold an application process, and cities apply to be a part of our program in about the fall, the winter time of the year before. And we rank applications based on 5 criteria areas. So really looking at clear goals and outcomes for using the maps, addressing environmental justice, a statement of need. So really articulate what are the challenges of that particular area. But 2 of the most important aspects of the application are demonstrating strong level of effective partnerships and a strong level of volunteer support, because the campaign cannot run without these strong partners in the community and a strong volunteer network, since, again, the program is a citizen science base. So it's people from these communities going out and collecting the data. And so all of the cities that I just mentioned fit those criteria. And we were really excited to be able to demonstrate, that they were able to demonstrate the need for heat mapping in their communities.
So are the tools the same this year, driving around and biking around?
Yes, exact same tools. So volunteers will attach a sensor that captures air temperature and humidity data, and they will go out either in cars or in bikes and attach these sensors to those vehicles and ride around for 3 times during the day, in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening, to be able to capture that data to give us a sense of what the urban heat island effect is in each city.
So going back to heat-related illness and death and kind of the bigger picture here, are there some simple ways that people in their communities can avoid heat-related illness and death, and maybe some less simple ways as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say that heat-related illnesses and deaths are largely preventable. And so there are definitely preventative actions that people can take before heat events occur and when heat events occur as well. And so a big thing is hydrating with water, of course, throughout the day, and avoiding sugary beverages or drinks with caffeine. Making sure to cover some windows that receive morning or afternoon sun, maybe with some drapes or shade, to really block out some of the incoming heat. And also, to begin preparing, it's worth building an emergency kit and making a family communication plan, especially if during a large-scale heat wave, there could be some of the power going out with just the increased energy usage in your city. But also during a heat event, it's important to remember not to leave children or pets alone inside closed vehicles. Again, making sure to drink plenty of water, avoiding strenuous exercise if you're able to, and make sure to really dress in loose fit, lightweight, light colored clothing that covers the skin as much as possible, and avoiding dark colored clothes, because that, again, absorbs the sun rays. And always just make sure to check on friends and family and neighbors, especially those who don't have air conditioning or spend a lot of time alone.
Yeah, it's interesting when you mentioned like power outages, because we always talk about like hurricanes, everybody's scared of the water and the wind, but the after effects of a hurricane, the heat can be just as dangerous, correct, if everyone's losing power?
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's been some instances in the past couple of years, especially in like Puerto Rico, that we have seen after hurricanes, when you have the extra effect of having extreme heat, that can really even devastate a situation even more.
I assume this is going to happen again next year. So if cities missed out this year, they can apply next year.
Yes, definitely. Be on the lookout for the application opening in about October.
Thank you, Morgan, so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. While you're here, check out some other videos you just may like.